Hey everyone, good morning and welcome to the King Angel Show. And if you're returning, welcome back. King Angel, a San Francisco Bay Area live streamer and content creator here on YouTube and Twitch, also Facebook. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. Lots of interesting news if you've been following everything that's been happening for the past 24 to 48 hours. I mean, it's been the same topic anywhere you go. TikTok is filled with videos that are only talking about the submersible that's missing. We'll start with that today because I think it's pretty interesting, and I am following it not because of the actual people that are in it, but the reasons why they find themselves in that current situation. Nothing is official yet, so as long as there isn't anything official, there is that little sliver of hope. But I don't know, man. Based off of all of these videos that I've seen up until this point, and the explanations of like experts when it comes to like submarines and whatnot and submersibles, yeah, it's not looking pretty good. It's not looking good. Cross fingers. Hopefully, they're still humans. Hopefully they'll be all right. But yeah, it's a pretty tough situation. Nonetheless, we're gonna check it out today. Read some news about it. See some live updates. Yeah, hopefully we have some breaking news up until this point. I know that this morning there was something that was reported, and they are actively looking for them right now as we speak. But I don't think there's anything like extremely recent. The headlines that I'm looking at right now, the most recent one was 45 minutes ago. I'll refresh to see if there's anything new, but that's the most current information that we have up until this point. But just to quickly go through the informative portion of the stream, like I like to call it, and then I'll just give you a quick update on me and whatnot. You know where to find me all across social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all under the @ that you see right here, the King Angel Show. There's also a QR code that you can scan here at your convenience if you're watching me on a laptop. That'll take you to my link tree, and that has all of my socials and all the links to my different live streams, like platforms that I use for it. So either YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. You can follow me on those platforms. On Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime if you're feeling like I am worthy and deserving of that subscription on your part. I think it's like $3.99, $4.99. I don't know. They update their prices ever so often, so you can definitely do that. Or, like I said, you can just follow me. It'll notify you when I go live, and that way you won't miss any of these live streams. Glad to have you here. Chat is open. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know any updates. Are you guys following the submersible news? If you haven't heard of it, we're going to talk about it today. If you have, let me know in chat. What do you guys think? Yeah. All in all, I mean, again, it's a pretty dense situation because there's a lot of backstory to it, and we're going to talk about it today. Yeah. Pretty weird that I mentioned this, and this is the background that came on. Again, I created the whole intro. I mean, all the videos that you see here are mine. I recorded everything. I just stitched them all together on Premiere Pro, so it's like one long video. But again, this is the background that I have right now. So, yeah, I'm not gonna apologize for it, but it did happen. So, yeah, happens. Dang, is that awful? Is that an awful thing to think? Jeez. Nonetheless, I have a 7-day free trial going on Patreon right now. You can join that community. And if you feel like you like what you see, what you hear, because all the audio versions are there of the random topic days that we do here on the show, and also some Coffee, the News, and Us, the ones that I find a lot more interesting than others, I post it there, and I post the audio as well too. Boom. Pictures, like I will soon be uploading like bloopers and stuff like that happen during recordings and whatnot. I have a few places that I'll be going to soon that I will be recording, like different parts of it just for Patreon members and whatnot. Especially if you don't live here in California, you get to enjoy a little bit of it through, my own lens and whatnot. It's hooked to Discord, so Patreon members get exclusive private Discord channels that are, again, only for Patreon members. We do gaming there, multiplayer gaming, Fortnite, if you're interested, or any other game that can have like multiplayer that we can all play at the same time. Fall Guys, Overwatch, whatever the case may be. We watch movies, album listens, concerts, and it's more in tune with what Patreon members want. There's also the public version of the Discord, which is King Angel's Entertainment Lounge. I mean, it's all within that same Discord, but there is a public side that is free. You can join. We do same album listens, concerts, movies. I will be watching a movie there tonight, so if you're interested, stop on by, or we can watch a documentary too. All depends on what you're up for. I'm always looking for conversation and argument and just general good time when it comes to whatever we're watching, you know, whether it's a horror movie or it's a informative documentary or a TV show, you know, whatever the case may be. The point is watching it together and having that conversation and debate, and of course arguments if it happens, but always done with respect and with mutual understanding that we are all human beings and we are all worthy of respect. Just for a bare minimum base level that we are human beings. So that's always great. Join that Discord, King Angel's Entertainment Lounge. And if you are listening to this audio version, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. That means that you are a Patreon member. I truly support that. I appreciate the support. I also support the fact that you're supporting me. So, you know what? I'll go with that sentence. But nonetheless, I appreciate the support. Thank you very much. And just know that if you're hearing the audio version, then there is the actual link for the YouTube video. Check it out. That way you can see what you're listening to. Nonetheless, happy to be here. It's been a pretty so-so week. I was ghosted by a company I had applied to. I applied to the position and they sent me an email, but nothing came to fruition after that. So I'm under the impression that they did that to steal my data. I don't understand. It completely ghosted me. Didn't even say anything about anything. I am still expecting that call that never materialized. So I don't know. Before, it used to be more of you weren't given the position because of you, basically. You didn't fit into the whole company. Maybe there were things in the company that you weren't, that they weren't necessarily looking for that, or I don't know, man, even for the dumbest reasons. But it would have normally been because of you. Whether it's like biases that they have against you, whatever, like it's the company's fault, but it would revolve more around that. But now it could be that, but it could also be that they're just posting positions available to justify PPP loans that were given during COVID, or they're just trying to figure out what the market is asking for right now. Like if they could potentially look for someone to pay cheaper to replace the current person that's been there. Seniority is a problem right now in many places, because the longer you are at a company, the more money they have to pay you, and companies want to apparently cut that shit out of, paying people more money. So here we are, and we find ourselves in the position where, yeah, like I would have doubted myself at some point if that would have happened to me in the past, but now I see it more from the position of fucking out of your mind. You know what? Maybe this is life keeping me from working and dedicating time to it. Because that's the key thing. Yeah, they're paying you, but they're paying you for your time. You don't get time back. So if we understand that you don't get time back, then where you decide to spend your time, even if they're paying you, is really important. And, I don't know. This job market's a bitch. And I salute everyone that has been able to keep their heads up until this point, because it is pretty hard out there. And you know, especially if depending on also where you live as well. I have TikTok, so I'm able to see like stories and stuff of other parts of the country and whatnot. Damn, dude, it's tough. It's really tough out there. And I live in California. There's apparently a lot of like positions available here and whatnot, but now I'm to the point where I don't even know if they're real or not. Not only do I see all these TikTok videos of people that have similar experiences to what I've been going through, but my own experience of literally being ghosted by a company. Like, you didn't even have the decency to call me or send me an email rejecting me or just saying that you weren't going to interview me. It was an interview. It wasn't even for the actual position. You want to know what the most ironic part of everything is? It was a fucking recruiting company. It was a recruiting company. Like, they recruit other people. Like, they get paid by companies to look for job candidates for certain positions. And they ghosted me. Wow. The audacity. If it would have been anything else, you know what? I would have been a little bit more understanding. But you promote yourselves as whatever, dude. A recruiting company. So your main like job is to contact people looking for jobs to try to get them to work in certain places that are looking for jobs. Yet you are looking for a supposed position. You're looking for a person to be able to fill the position of a recruiter, and you ghosted me. So, yeah, I'm at the point where it's not a me issue. It's a them issue. Like, literally, it's a them issue. I was interviewed by another company too, and this dude asked me, like, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? What? No. You're asking me 1996 questions? Early 2001 questions? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What am I, a fucking superhero? Are you serious? It's a job posting. It's for customer service. Where do I see myself in 5 years? Fucking hopefully alive. There's not the level of privilege that you need to have to be able to plan out your life from here to 5 years. You could walk outside after having done the interview. You could be sitting in the same interview and the roof can cave over you. You can get a heart attack in the middle of the interview and drop dead and die. Where am I? As soon as he started with those questions, I automatically knew this is not for me. This is not going to be the place for me. And I told my wife once I got at the interview, I'm like, they're not going to give me the position. Because I could just tell. It's just the interaction was like, this person is extremely antiquated. And you could tell by not only the person's demeanor, how they were conducting themselves, how they were sitting during the interview. I am the person being interviewed. But see, what people don't realize is the person you're interviewing is also interviewing you. It's a two-way street. Companies for a very long time have had this thing that because they're the ones that are paying the money and they're the ones that are looking for the position, that they have like this upper hand. Bro, it's the same thing. And now there's social media. Now they have same platform, Indeed. Dude, you could comment on the company and they won't erase it because it's not their own personal website. So the comment stays there. You may not think it's much, but I read the comments of companies. You should probably do the same thing too if you're looking for a job. And coincidentally, when I read the comments on the recruiting position, dude, they were horrible, horrible, one after the other. Even people that were still working in the damn company were commenting there. So, yeah, that's the state of, in my experience, the current job market. It's crazy. So, like I mentioned before, dude, a shout out to all those people out there that are able to find these jobs really quickly. And, you know, dude, shout out to you. I just made a video and I posted it on TikTok about how we've been lied to this whole time. The fucking company's telling us that we're overqualified for positions. Bro, if I'm applying to the job, it's because I don't have money. So, what you're telling me is this. If I'm too overqualified for a position, you won't give me the position because I'm overqualified. I have too many skills than what is... So I check off all the lists of what you need, but I have more skills than what you need. Therefore, you can't give me the position because of what? I don't understand. Do you think I'm going to take over the company? I don't get it. Like, what is it? If the job posting says customer service, hypothetically speaking, customer service, why would you think that I am applying with the mentality of a director or a manager or a supervisor? Like, do you understand? Even if I held those positions in the past, I understand that that's not what you're looking for. Because I am literate. I can read. It says it on your fucking post. It says it right there. Right there. Yet, in your little nincompoop mind, I am overqualified for the position. But then, if you apply to a position that you think you're qualified for, many times you don't get the job. So what am I supposed to do? What are people supposed to do? Like, not learn anything? Like, you're not supposed to have any skills? Because if you have too many skills, you can't work here. So what the fuck? What am I supposed to do? So you want a dumb person? How dumb am I supposed to be? Am I supposed to apologize for having learned stuff? I'm supposed to apologize. I'm supposed to pay for having more skills than what you need? Am I crazy? Like, is this like the reality that we're living in right now? That doesn't sound like a very good deal. It's like these companies make people go, like, jump through hoops and shit for a position like that. You're paying $17 an hour. The minimum wage here in California is $15. So you're only paying $2 more than like the base minimum wage. And these companies want these superheroes. Like, have you seen these job posts? Bro, some of these people are like, what are they smoking? Because it ain't weed. I'm going to tell you that much. It's not weed because it has to be something else. Because who in their right mind lists these responsibilities? Sorry. And yet you're paying like bullshit minimum wage. Something's not right. Something's not clicking. You want to know why it is? Do you want to know why that happens? It happens because those companies had someone that did it. Someone assumed all of those responsibilities and did it for dirt cheap, and now they think that everyone else can do it. Yeah. They were so good at what they did, and the company was able to get away with not having to pay them their worth, that they are under the assumption that Oh yeah, it'll be easy to find someone like that. It'll be so easy to replace this person and find someone that's willing to do all of these things for this measly amount of money. Because someone else did it. Because someone else. You see why unions are so fucking important? Because that happens to someone. Someone did that. So they assumed, you know what? Everyone can do it. And that's what they post. And they put these superhero type posts. You know, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for these supermen and women that will do it all. And will do it all with a smile on their face. And teamwork and family. And, oh, we're family here. Oh my God. Wasn't there there's a case that's going on right now, happened like last week or something. There was a person that was a woman that was having a miscarriage, and she told her manager she needed to leave, and her manager said no, and she died. Dude, man. I saw a part-time post. Part-time. 20 hours a week with a list of responsibilities that you can tell that takes 2 full-time positions to do. $19 an hour. Part-time. These companies are going out of their minds. They're going out of their minds. Like, we're seeing capitalism die before us, and they're trying to hold on to as many branches as they can before they completely vanish away. Like I was saying before, it's not only it's not a you thing anymore. Now it's like there's so many other factors to it. Like I mentioned, the PPP loans, or companies that just that post those jobs. I read in an article, companies sometimes post those jobs to scare the employees. So they'll put it in like certain websites that are more visible to others to fuck with the employee that's currently there. Like, hey, if you don't do your job correctly, you're going to be replaced. Bro, what? You understand that a company can't work without employees, right? It might as well, if you guys could do it on your own, you might as well just fucking do it on your own. But why hire people? You need the employees. It's a two-way street. I don't know where these people are getting this crazy idea that it's only one way because we need the money. Bitch, I need to survive. I'm not afraid of death. So, I don't know. These companies seem like they're really afraid of their companies going down. Well, you know what, motherfucker? I'm not afraid of death. So, tired of these employers. It's like, the hell? Is this where we are? I had a company send me a text message. And the text message, all it said was, are you willing to work or not? I was like, what? Nope. What am I, cattle? I'm an animal now. Not even an email. I'm an animal. Are you willing to work? How quick are you willing to start working? I had never spoken to anyone in that company before. I'm okay. Something's gonna have to change at some point. Because it just can't continue the way it's going. It's not feasible for companies. It's not feasible for people. It's just not working out. And every day that passes, I am convinced that this bubble that we're living in, it's going to burst. It's going to be really ugly. But then it's going to get really good. There's nowhere else to go but up. But wow. These employees are they're soul sucking. Whatever. I dragged that on for but again, I'm really bothered because of that, and it's been a really big struggle, and I'm just fucking tired of being in this position. But I know it's just a bump in the road. Everything's gonna be better. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna start today's show. Well, officially start Coffee, the News, and Us. I'll switch over to the other screen. We're gonna do, like I said before, we're gonna talk about the submersible. This is such an interesting topic. There's so many people with different opinions on it. I'm gonna straight up give you mine. Hey man, don't fuck with the ocean. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's not to sound insensitive, but I'm pretty sure that if I were laying in the street, dying, none of those people in that submarine would have stopped to help me. You don't become a billionaire by having empathy and tolerance and love and appreciation. You know, if you're in chat, I mean, hey, I don't know, name a billionaire that was able to accomplish that through those means. I probably had to fuck over some people during their lifetime. The human part of me, hey man, dude, that sucks. Sucks to be in that position. Sucks that they're missing and the whole thing. It's really bad, but they are adults. They signed waivers for this shit. They paid massive amounts of money to get on the tin can that they should have done their research before getting in there. I don't know what to tell you. It sucks. But just throwing it out there out of curiosity though, because why did the stepson of one of them go to a Blink-182 concert? See, it's the little things. It's those little things. So, yeah. Again, pretty interesting, the situation and topic in and of itself. The science that tried to go behind everything and what went wrong, and just the whole video of the component of that submersible, and the fact that there's news that came out that, one of the previous employees that was fired had he was fired because he was telling the truth. He told them that was not going to be able to get to 13,000 feet underwater. It was not made for that. It was only going to get it to a certain point before it would start having massive amounts of problems. Let's jump first into what happened, and then from that point, then we'll snowball into all the other parts. I want us to check out the video of, I think it was a few months ago, where a CNN reporter went to the submersible in and of itself, and he got in and everything, and he was explaining where the parts of the submersible were purchased from, and spoiler alert, if you don't know about this yet, it's all across the news, but yeah, it had a controller that a physical console controller. I think it's like an Xbox controller that was in charge of controlling the movement of the actual submersible. This, I'm telling you, it's crazy. Again, if you haven't heard of it, welcome to the King Angel Show. We're gonna talk about it today. If you already know about it, again, let me know in chat. What do you think? Let me know what your thoughts are on the current searches that are happening right now. Do you think it's worth it? Who should be paying for these searches? Because it's us taxpayers. I just want to throw that out there because they have I believe it's the military, Marines are involved in this. We're gonna find that out now when we start reading and watching videos about this, and obviously continuing on the conversation about the submersible. But yeah, it's a very important question. Who's paying for all this? You and I. All right. So we'll see from USA Today if they let me, if they're not behind a paywall. See? I know CNN is not behind a paywall. All right, so this is the current news. Okay, Horizon Maritime will hold a news conference at 2:30 p.m. Is it Pacific Standard Time or Eastern Time? 1:30. Okay, so probably like in 35 minutes. Maybe we can check it out. Okay. So, we'll start from the beginning. All right, so this was posted 5 hours ago. It's off CNN.com. And title says, everything you need to know about the search so far for the missing sub. It reads, a submersible carrying 5 people to see the wreckage of the Titanic at the bottom of the North Atlantic Ocean is still missing despite a massive search operation. But banging sounds were reportedly heard in the area, according to a U.S. governmental memo. That was 5 hours ago, the news that was published about it. So, about the excursion. The 8-day journey conducted by OceanGate Expeditions, priced at $250,000 per person, is based out of Newfoundland, with participants first traveling 400 nautical miles to the wreck site, which is about 900 miles. That's 1,450 kilometers off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. On this particular mission, the submersible, known as Titan, was carrying a pilot and 4 passengers. How the sub went missing. The vessel began its 2-hour descent to the wreck on Sunday morning. It lost contact with the Polar Prince, the support ship that transported the vessel to the site, 1 hour and 45 minutes into its descent, officials said. Search operations began later that day. It's still not clear what happened to the submersible, why it lost contact, or how close to the Titanic it was when it went missing. Race against time. So, less than a day of breathable air may be left on the vessel, based on agency officials' latest estimate. Some parts of Titan are decidedly low-tech. Unlike a submarine, a submersible needs a mothership to launch it, has fewer power reserves, and can't stay underwater as long. The ship communicates with the vessel by text messages, and it's required to communicate every 15 minutes, according to OceanGate Expeditions' archived website. All those things were used to now. GPS, Wi-Fi, radio links do not work under the ocean, according to former Navy submarine officer Captain J. Van Gurley. So, developments in the search efforts. As the craft's oxygen dwindles, banging sounds have been picked up from the Atlantic Ocean, signaling continued hope of survivors, according to a U.S. government memo. The banging first came every 30 minutes and was heard again 4 hours later. The internal government memo obtained by CNN states, it was unclear when exactly the banging was heard Tuesday or how long it lasted based on the memo. Rolling Stone was first to report news of the noise. Now, the tools being used in the search. The underwater sounds were detected Tuesday by sonar devices deployed by a Canadian P-3 aircraft to find the 21-foot vessel that lost contact Sunday. The U.S. is moving in military and commercial assets as aircraft from the Canadian Armed Forces, the U.S. Coast Guard, and the New York Air National Guard continue to look above and below water. And France's president has dispatched a research ship with an underwater robot to join the search Wednesday. Something that I mentioned before, there were safety concerns. OceanGate touted Titan's safety features, despite conflicting information over its development. CNN has learned of at least 2 former OceanGate employees who expressed safety concerns about the vessel's hull years ago, including the thickness of the material used and testing procedures. The 23,000-pound craft is made of highly engineered carbon fiber and titanium. In fact, Technology used in the missing Titan sub is so new that it hasn't been reviewed. Okay, so that's just kind of everything we need to know on fast facts kind of basis. Okay, so this is the press release from the USCG Northeast. This was on, this was today. It says 3 vessels arrived on scene Wednesday morning. The John Cabot has side-scanning sonar capabilities and is conducting search patterns alongside the Skansi Vinland and the Atlantic Merlin. This is today, so that's a same thing we're talking about. It's a vessel with system for detecting objects on the seafloor joins search effort, Coast Guard says. And it says 3 vessels arrived Wednesday morning to join the search effort for the missing Titanic submersible, according to a tweet from the U.S. Coast Guard's 1st District. One of the vessels, which is what I read before, the John Cabot, has side-scanning sonar capabilities and joins the Skansi Vinland and the Atlantic Merlin on the search, USCG said. Side-scan sonar is a system used for detecting and imaging objects on the seafloor, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. The multiple physical sensors of the sonar, called a transducer array, send and receive acoustic pulses that help map the seafloor or detect other objects, NOAA said. As the ship moves along its path, the transducer array sends out signals on both of its sides, sweeping the seafloor like the fan-shaped beam of a flashlight. Side scans search at constant speeds and in straight lines, allowing the ship to map the ocean bottom as it travels. However, side scan sonar cannot measure depth, which is the main focus here because of how deep the Titanic is. And it says so it is frequently used in coordination with other tools to create a more extensive survey of the ocean floor, NOAA said. Let's see. So this is the current news. We're just waiting on the information. So let's see. This was 1 hour and 54 minutes ago. It says now Coast Guard gives update on search of missing submersible. After I read this one, then we're going to jump into videos. I saved some TikToks that we'll just go in so that we can watch them. There's this really interesting one that's floating around. Hopefully I'm able to find that one. I didn't save it, but I also have another tab open right on top for videos, news and whatnot about the submersible. So this is again one of the current updates. This was the Coast Guard giving an update on the search for the missing submersible. This is when they mentioned that the banging sounds were picked up by sonar vessels from the Atlantic Ocean on Tuesday, signaling continued hope of survivors. The thing is that some experts say that could be other sounds, that it's just detecting from the same area, that it doesn't necessarily have to be from the submersible, because given the current situation that they're going through, it only opens from the outside. It's completely sealed. They don't. It's really dark down there. They don't have a light or anything. Yeah, it's just a whole bunch of problems that they're experiencing right now. But again, that's just this quick update that they gave. Let's see. It says, see, they don't know what they are. This is the searches around the area where noises were identified in the Atlantic Ocean on Tuesday and Wednesday morning have yielded negative results, the Coast Guard said, adding that crews are still efforting to locate what made the banging sound. So yeah, that's the thing. They don't know. They don't know what it is. Again, the team assisting in the search efforts. Okay, so the location of the search is 900 miles off the coast of Cape Cod and 400 miles southeast of St. John's, which he said makes it difficult to mobilize large amounts of equipment quickly. In light of these details, Frederick said the following. That's Captain Jamie Frederick. He's a response coordinator for the 1st Coast Guard District. It says, currently 5 surface assets are searching. There will be a total 10 surface assets in the next 24 to 48 hours. This was published an hour and 43 minutes ago as of today, June 21st, 2023, Wednesday. There are 2 ROVs actively searching. Several more are en route and will arrive by tomorrow morning, Thursday. There are 2 back-to-back P3 flights. One is ongoing, which provides a total of 14 hours of continuous on-scene coverage. And there's 2 C-130 flights, one ongoing now, through the day and into the evening. I hope that they keep the same energy for, I don't know, I throw it out there. That boat with like 700 people that are missing that went off the coast of Greece. I don't know. Hopefully, and I'm inclined to think that yes, that they will do this same thing for them and all of the other missing people from now on that are found in the ocean. I don't know, I'm just throwing that out there. Still pretty interesting. Let's watch some videos. Okay, this was about the Coast Guard. This was published 33. Let's see. I'm gonna find sort of a longer one that encompasses the actual information of, you know, what happened, what went wrong, and whatnot, or what they think went wrong. Because obviously we don't have like specific answers for it yet. It's 11 hours and 54 minutes. Holy cannoli! This one's actually live from Canada. Okay. Let's try this one. I don't think the Wall Street, they're not going to let me, these assholes, dude. I know they're going to hide it behind a paywall. Dang. The S&P 500 is down 0.26%. I'm not even going to get into that. I don't do crypto. I don't do Bitcoin. I don't do any of that. But I do... Hell yeah. Like, just... regular old... Why is this not stopping, though? Oh, this isn't it's not a person talking. I want like a newscast or something. I want an actual explanation. What is it with these people in these videos? Okay, let's see what this website has to say. This is kcra.com. Where's this from?
Since Sunday, the Coast Guard has coordinated search efforts with the U.S. and Canadian Coast Guard, Air National Guard aircraft, and the Polar Prince, which have searched a combined 7,600 square miles, an area larger than the state of Connecticut. These search efforts have focused on both surface, with C-130 aircraft searching by sight and with radar, and subsurface with P-3 aircraft were able to drop and monitor sonar buoys. To date, those search efforts have not yielded any results. Search efforts have continued through last night and today. Today, the vessel Deep Energy, a 194-meter pipe-laying vessel, arrived on scene with underwater ROV capability. They have rendezvoused with the vessel Polar Prince and commenced an ROV dive at the last known of the position of the Titan and the approximate position of the Titanic wreck. That operation is currently ongoing. Additionally, a Canadian P-3 aircraft is currently conducting a 6-hour search of the area, and several C-130 aircraft and another P-3 are scheduled to fly this afternoon and this evening. The Canadian Coast Guard cutter, or vessel, John Cabot, is scheduled to arrive later this evening, and several other Canadian Coast Guard vessels and the Coast Guard cutter Sycamore are en route. Additionally, the U.S. Coast Guard has the U.S. Navy's SUBSAL Supervisor of Salvage and Diving Command is working with U.S. Transportation Command to bring additional assets to the search area. These more capable assets will be staged out of St. John's for further transport to the search area. There are also several private vessels, research vessels with ROV capabilities that are making preparations to join the efforts. So I want to reiterate, this is a very complex search, and the Unified team is working around the clock to bring all available assets and expertise to bear as quickly as possible in an effort to solve this very complex problem. We'll continue to provide updates as they become available. And again, our thoughts and prayers are with the crew and the families and their loved ones. We will provide unwavering effort as we continue the search. And I think at this time we'll open it up and take a few questions.
How an ROV would work, sir, if it's tethered to a ship and what it can see, and then could it actually tug or pull something?
So each of the ROVs, so that's kind of a vague question, right? ROVs have different capability. It's our understanding the current ROV that is deployed at the site now has some limited capability. It has a camera on board, but again, each of those is different, and we'll be gathering more information as that operation goes on through the day.
Captain, how many hours of NBC News? If your submersibles can find this sub, is there any way to retrieve it and save the people on board?
Yeah, so right now all of our efforts are focused on finding the sub. What I will tell you is we have a group of our nation's best experts in the Unified Command, and if we get to that point, those experts will be looking at what the next course of action is.
Interesting. Okay, so who's on board? We haven't talked about that yet. So, who's on board? A renowned Titanic. Again, I'm reading from kcra.com. I forgot to mention. Oh, nice! This is from Sacramento. Shout out, Sac. I thought I saw who wrote this. Oh, well, they're getting their information from CNN. It doesn't say who wrote it, but oh well. As I was saying, who's on board? A renowned Titanic expert, a world record-holding adventurer, two members of one of Pakistan's wealthiest families, and the CEO of the company leading an expedition to the world's most famous shipwreck, are facing critical danger aboard a small submersible that went missing in the Atlantic Ocean. They are: number one, Stockton Rush, who founded OceanGate Inc. in 2009 to provide crewed submersibles for undersea researchers and explorers, according to the company's website. Rush is the Titan's pilot, said company spokesperson Andrew Von Cairns. You know what's weird? We were able to do a space expedition way more successfully than we have been able to do for the ocean. That says a lot. If you've been here before on the show, we've covered the vastness of space, but even that doesn't compare to how little we know of ocean life and what's actually down there. I saw a video of someone that posted they did one certain, I think it was they were underneath water for quite some time, and they were able to film a giant squid that they had no idea existed. And that's just scratching, like, everything we've discovered up until this point in regards to ocean life is just scratching the surface on it. We have absolutely no idea what's down there at all. Past the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest ocean that we've been able to explore, we have no idea. For all we know, there could be fucking transparent bioluminescent whales just wandering around the bottom of the ocean, just like living there for millennia. We don't even fucking know. Probably squids that have evolved with time and no light, because there's no light down there, and they are these like weird thing. I don't know, dude. Science fiction mind can imagine any type of creature they want, but the reality is we have no idea what's down there. So yeah, that says a lot that we were able to do that. SpaceX and like Jeff Bezos was on the spacecraft, and there were like other people and shit, and they paid to go into space and come back. Was more successful than, I don't know, man. That should say something. I just want to point that out there. Person number 2, Hamish Harding, a British businessman, lives in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Action Aviation, an aircraft brokering company for which Harding serves as chairman, said he was one of the mission specialists who paid to go on the expedition. Harding is an avid adventurer, having traveled to space on board the Blue Origin flight last year, and to the Challenger deep in the Pacific Ocean, believed to be the deepest point in the world. Next one is up. It's Shahzada and Suleiman Dawood, who are father and son, are members of one of Pakistan's most prominent families. Their family said in a statement that they were both aboard the vessel. The business family runs some of the largest corporations in the country, with a portfolio spanning energy, petrochemicals, fertilizers, IT, and food and agriculture. Person number 5, Paul Henry Narguillet is a former French Navy officer who is considered a Titanic expert after making multiple trips to the wreckage over several decades. The diver has decades of experience exploring the Titanic. He serves as the director of underwater research at RMS Titanic Inc., the company that has exclusive rights to salvage artifacts from the ship. Okay, what is this? It's like pictures of them?
Coast Guard says that this does remain a search and rescue mission, but the clock could be ticking if they are underwater and the oxygen is running low.
Our thoughts are with the crew members and the families.
A race against time to find a missing sub. The Ocean Gate Titan and its crew of 1 pilot and 4 others was due to tour the Titanic. Now it could be anywhere on the surface or 2 miles below on the ocean floor. ABC News confirming British businessman and adventurer Hamish Harding of Action Aviation is among those on board. Listed as a space tourist, Harding and his company posting his excitement just before the mission, saying a weather window has opened up and we are going to attempt to dive tomorrow.
So you really don't even know when you go down how long you're going to be there. It may change just on the weather.
Historian Don Lynch has been miles deep before, exploring the wreck for the movie Titanic with James Cameron.
It's 2 hours down and 2 hours back up. So when you're down there, you try to maximize your time as much as possible.
The tour company Ocean Gate lost contact with its crew.
Sorry, I'm trying to get this to move. It just has this empty space to the left, and I'm trying to see if I can make it a little bit more. Let's see. Oh well, I feel like it's a little bit better than before. It just has like the black sides to it. I'll make it bigger. Fuck it. I'll work on that later on.
On Sunday, just an hour and 45 minutes into its trip. Exactly what went wrong remains a mystery.
It could be just a matter of working through a few issues and then bringing the submersible back to the surface. Or it could be an issue of needing assistance, which requires another submersible to go locate them.
The U.S. and Canada now scanning from the air and on and below the surface, using sonar and enlisting commercial ships. But if they're below the surface, the clock could be ticking with just 96 hours of oxygen on board.
So,
this is actually from yesterday or the day before
yesterday. Making the best use of every moment of that time to locate the vessel.
OceanGate says it's doing everything it can to reestablish contact, saying our entire focus is on the crew members in the submersible and their families. But even after that vessel is found, the next challenge is retrieving it. The Coast Guard is working on that plan right now. Live in Boston, Sean Shiabot, WCVB News Center 5.
Okay. Let's see if I could go into TikTok and find... Obviously skipping anything that has... okay. This one's in Spanish, but the words are in English. So, this is basically... Oh, this has the Titanic music on it, right? Yeah, it has the Titanic. It's the music to it. You know what sucks? That you can't like stop.
Okay.
Whoops. You can't like stop copyright music. Like, if I would have, like, is there not any way that I could like stop the music? Maybe it's no. Because I know that what this will do is open the actual thing. Damn it. Okay, this is a CBS report.
An experimental submersible vessel that has not been approved or certified by any...
Okay, so it says on top, the reporter even noticed that the submersible looked improvised, with some parts being bought from Camping World. Was it safe? Person says praying for their safe return. Check out this video.
Regulatory body and could result in physical injury, disability, emotional trauma, or death. Where do I sign?
Oh, take your shoes off. That's customary.
Okay. Wow. Inside, the sub has about as much room as a minivan.
So this is not your grandfather's submersible. We only have one button. That's it. It should be like an elevator. You know, it shouldn't take a lot of skill.
The Titan is the only 5-person sub in the world that can reach Titanic depths, 2.4 miles below the sea. It's also the only one with a toilet. Sort of. And yet, I couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
We can use these off-the-shelf components. I got these from Camper World. We run the whole thing with this game controller.
Come on! It seems like this submersible has some elements of MacGyver-y jerry-rigness. I mean, you're putting construction pipes as ballast.
I don't know if I'd use that description of it, but there's...
An experimental submersible vessel...
What do you mean that you wouldn't use that? Dude, that's exactly it. Like, you just admitted to it. Camping World. And let me tell you something. It's... Okay. A lot of people are giving them slack for having used a controller. Check this out. Okay, so this is from 2010, back when the PlayStation 3 was out. But just so that you can kind of get a glimpse, it's not uncommon for, in this case, even the Air Force to use PlayStation 3. It's a console, and it has like certain capabilities. Check this out. So again, this is old. This is from 2010, but it could sort of not explain why they used a controller, but more so that it's not as uncommon as people think it is. There's people that are, we're gonna check out. I'll write on the search bar submersible, and we'll start watching videos on TikTok, non-copyright music that have like information about the submersible and whatnot, but okay, this specifically. U.S. Air Force connects 1,760 PlayStation 3s to build a supercomputer. I'm reading off of phys.org. This was written by Lisa Ziga. And again, this was published December 2nd, 2010. But nonetheless, about the 33rd largest supercomputer in the world right now is the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratories, which is AFRL. Their newest system, which is a core made of 1,760 Sony PlayStation 3, which are PS3 consoles. In addition to its large capacity, the so-called Condor cluster is capable of performing 500 trillion floating point operations per second. It's a TFLOPS, making it the fastest interactive computer in the entire U.S. Defense Department. So again, obviously, not a controller, but more so that consoles and, you know, their accessories are used for other things that are not gaming. In this case, for the submersible, it was used for controlling the actual machine. Was it the best idea? I don't know. But again, it's not something that's extremely uncommon. So, the supercomputer, which is located in Rome, New York, was formally presented yesterday at a ribbon-cutting ceremony. It will be used by Air Force centers across the country for tasks such as radar enhancement, pattern recognition, satellite imagery processing, and artificial intelligence research. Again, this is 2010. Well, there's actually a Wikipedia entry for it. It's called the PlayStation 3 cluster. All right. Okay, so I wrote military machines controlled by console controllers. This is from the... I don't think the Washington Post is going to let me read it. Let's see this one. Tasks and purpose. Okay. So, TheVerge.com title says, the U.S. Navy's newest submarine comes with an Xbox controller. This off-the-shelf equipment saves the military a lot of money. Just really quickly. Just because curiosity is the pathway to answers, or of sorts. So as of December 12, 2022, the House and Senate versions of the fiscal year 2023 National Defense Authorization Bill, which is FY 2023 NDAA, were to be $839 billion with a B, billion, and $847 billion for the HASC and CASC respectively, for a compromise $857.9 billion top line. Billion. So it says right here. Hold on. Off-the-shelf equipment saves the military a lot of money. All right. Published March 18th, 2018 by Andrew Liptak. So, on Saturday, the USS Colorado, the U.S. Navy's largest Virginia-class attack submarine, went into service from the Naval Submarine Base, New London in Connecticut. It comes with an unconventional piece of equipment, an Xbox controller, according to USA Today. The Navy said in September that the new submarines would come equipped with a pair of photonics masts, which replaced the previously used periscope. The masts feature high-resolution cameras that can rotate 360 degrees and feeds their imagery to monitors in the ship's control room. Initially, the masts were controlled with a helicopter-style stick, but those were described as heavy and clunky and were swapped out with an Xbox 360 controller. According to the Colorado's commanding officer, Commander Reed Coep, using off-the-shelf technology saves the Navy money, while the controller is already intuitive for the submarine's sailors. Aha! Put two and two together. Ah, you're a gamer, huh? Let's use a Xbox 360 controller. I mean, it would have gone with a PlayStation controller, but fine. The Navy isn't the first to adapt their controls to what their users are familiar with. Wired for War author P.W. Singer told PBS in 2009 that the military has taken cues from the video game industry, with controllers that closely mimic the ones that control consoles. We already have this generation that's already trained up in their use, so why would we try to use different systems that we'd have to train them how to utilize? Yeah, I see what you did there. Makes sense. But, again, I only read this because a lot of people are under the impression that because they used a controller, like, that's like a whole thing. I even saw, they were mentioning, like, suing Logitech and shit. Like, are you serious? Buy that in CVS. For my international viewers, CVS is a pharmacy. But you can, like, buy shit, like, stuff there. Like, random things. You can buy it at Target as well, so it's not, you know, it's not anything that you couldn't be able to use, like, or purchase. I'm sorry, but again, it's not unknown. It's not uncommon for, you know, different things, you know, different machinery to use something as basic as in this case, an Xbox controller. So, with that out of the way, TikTok has, dude, there's some people that have no chill whatsoever, and bro, the videos I have seen, like, making fun of the whole thing, oh my god. I'm not a fan of billionaires at all, but I'm not gonna get to the point of, like, making fun of it either, because it is they're still human beings at the end of the day. But wow, one of them shit is like an animation of a little submarine going down, and then you see something that pops up and says the Xbox controller has been disconnected. Funny. Quite horrible. It was so funny. Okay. Now we know this, so it shouldn't come as a surprise. Okay. This is from CBS. It probably has, like,
with just hours of oxygen left, rescuers say they're doing everything they can to find the missing submersible. U.S.-based OceanGate Expeditions operated the voyage, which takes tourists to the famous Titanic shipwreck in the North Atlantic Ocean, nearly 2.5 miles underwater. Rescuers say the vessel could be there on the ocean floor or on the surface, but even if it's floating, spotting the Titan won't be easy. OceanGate CEO and founder Stockton Rush is among those on board.
We run the whole thing with this game controller.
In an interview with CBS Sunday Morning last year, Rush defended the safety of the submersible.
Your thrusters can go, your lights can go, you're still going to be safe.
According to 2018 court filings, a former OceanGate employee said he was fired after voicing concerns about the Titan, saying it posed potential danger to passengers as it reached extreme depths. But in court documents filed this April, OceanGate said the vessel was capable of diving the depth to the Titanic site with a comfortable safety margin. Mike Reese traveled on the Titan almost a year ago to see the Titanic wreckage.
No one walks into this surprised. Before you even get on, you sign this long waiver that mentions possible death 3 times on the first page. So you know what you're getting into.
With just hours.
That is not comforting at all. Whatsoever.
It's got one button, and that's it. Yeah, so we run the sub with this game controller. It's made by Logitech, but it's basically a Sony PlayStation style controller. If you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you press back. You want to turn to the left, it's like that. You want to turn to the right, you turn to the right. It's got one.
The final text from the British billionaire who is trapped inside the missing Titanic sub has surfaced. Billionaire Hamish Harding, who previously went to space, contacted his friend just before embarking on the $250,000 expedition. The explorer mentioned the bad weather, which he had previously said was the reason this might be the only mission to see the Titanic this year. Hope came as banging sounds were detected near the wreck, but the Coast Guard confirmed they have still yielded negative results. The final text from...
Damn. Crazy. Got the final text too and everything. Let's see. Oh, listen to this. This is Cardi.
So one of the billionaires that's missing on the water from that submarine shit, one of the billionaires, their stepson, is at a concert, right?
They fucking added the Titanic thing to it.
So this submarine that they still can't find, do you know the details about this? This man has a company called OceanGate, which already sounds like a scandal. He offers this experience where you take a submarine down to the floor of the ocean so you can see...
You know, oops. I left the music on. I actually thought... I apologize for that. I have to do a lot better with leaving the music on. When I first heard OceanGate, I thought that it was like a play on like Watergate. I don't know, I thought it was a play on that because of like the water part and whatnot, but no, it's the actual name of it, like OceanGate. I mean, that didn't last long, but the thought did pass by my head, like, I wonder if it's because of Watergate. Nonetheless, alright, let's continue watching. You can also, anything that we're watching, credits right on top, you can see the video, content creator on top or the news source where we're going to be watching it from. You can follow them, subscribe to their TikTok. Again, this is all from TikTok. We're skipping anything that has copyright music on it. So if we find the Cardi video, and I know that it's available without audio because I heard it without it. We'll see it. But again, just content creators on TikTok right on top. Follow them, subscribe to their channels, blah, blah. All right.
And see the Titanic. This company has no regulations or standards. You have to sign a waiver saying I'll probably die, but it's fine because I love the Titanic, and it costs $250,000 to do it. So the people in the submarine were billionaires. The submarine is the size of a minivan, so all 5 of them are in this little tube. But what's crazy is that he like jerry-rigged it with like construction tubes and camping supplies. Well, listen to how it's operated.
We run the whole thing with this game control.
Babe, like, no wonder 5 years ago, someone who worked there was like, I think people are gonna die, and they're like, you're fine.
Again, we just read about the Xbox 360 controllers used in the Navy. It's not anything that's out of this world. I think that because people are not used to seeing something like that, they automatically freak out about it, and they're just like, oh shit. And they were using Xbox controller, they were using a controller and shit. But, you know, again, we read about it. It's more common than what people give it credit. So just wanted to put that out there.
Fired. Highly reputable Marine Technology Society was like, please don't do this. They have about 1 day left of oxygen, and there's 3 things they think could have happened. Could be floating on the surface of the water because they can't open it from the inside. It has to be from the outside. They've been searching and like, this isn't likely. Option 2 is that there was like a crack in it or something and it just imploded, which honestly is pretty plausible. And the last is that they are stuck in the Titanic. If this is the case, the only way they can be saved is if instruments come down and basically break it apart. But like, do they even want that? Like, if I love the Titanic so much that I ignored every sign that I was going to die, don't rip the Titanic open for me. I don't want the survivor's guilt. Like, I came down here with an Xbox controller. I knew what I was doing. So this...
I fear they're down on the bottom. Something could have happened. There could have been a leak, which let water into the submarine. Maybe they were very close to the Titanic, and then the current pushed them. They somehow got snagged or caught. That knocked off the antenna and also prevented them from extracting themselves. They could have had battery failure where they lost all power. They have little propellers that they use to maneuver themselves around and also to drive back up to the surface. And they have a couple of backup means for getting back to the surface. But it's troubling that they haven't been able to get themselves back to the surface. Basically, you should think about it like the backside of the moon. It's pitch black, freezing water, crushing pressures. And so if they're down there in the submarine, they're in the dark, they're shivering cold, and they are having to control their breathing to breathe as little as possible, to rest, relax, meditate, take naps, and breathe as little oxygen and exhale as little carbon dioxide as possible to extend.
See, because that's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna
that time
let me
as
let
long
it
as
finish.
possible.
Sorry.
They can't get out from the inside. Number one, the pressure's too high. Number two, they're bolted in from the outside. So even if they did get to the surface, they still need the rescuers to find them and then get the mothership there so they can take the bolts off and get them out of there.
Crazy. Because I was thinking about that. Talking with my wife yesterday, like, because they're enclosed in this and there is no way out, you can only open it through the outside. At some point, they're gonna have to stop talking, because like everything, any motion, they can't move a lot, because anything that you do requires you to inhale oxygen and then exhale carbon dioxide, like you said. So it's like a stuff of like horror movies at this point, if you really think about it, because they're enclosed in this completely sealed tin in who knows where in the ocean, pitch black. It's freezing down there. Yeah. Damn. Like, completely dark, because even if they were to have that little space that you see right there in the front of the submersible, you still can't see anything like outside, because it's completely dark, which is the reason why they were relying on like the screens that were inside and whatnot. Man, this is just like a horror movie through and through. I thought of so many different scenarios that you movie production companies, you guys have it easy, because there's lots of people with great ideas. Fucking listen to this. And again, not hypothetically, it's a sci-fi situation where, you know, it's fiction based off of something that actually happened, but same situation, but they're found years later. Something went in. All of a sudden they seem to be alive, but they don't even know why. No one can explain. They're let out and they start overcoming like the earth. Kind of like a squid zombie kind of situation going on. A little mixture of The Last of Us as well. Could you imagine? I mean, obviously it's great plot for a movie. So, you know, if you're watching the show, you heard it here first. If you see it on a big screen or on a show, just know that they have officially run out of ideas and they're just going into people's like videos and shit, trying to get ideas from other people. Because I said it here. I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix is already working on a documentary about this. Crazy. So really quickly, I'm gonna look for okay, so this is I wrote on Google theories on what happened to the submersible missing. This was published 8 hours ago, written by thetab.com. I've never heard of this website, but it says every theory about what happened to the missing Titanic submarine put forward by experts. It says that researchers are still searching for the vessel. This is written by Lydia Spencer Elliott from the UK. Shout out to the UK. The U.S. Coast Guard has confirmed the missing Titanic submarine with 5 people on board will run out of oxygen by 11 a.m. on Thursday. And as the rescue and search mission rushes to find the vessel, which is lost somewhere in the mid-Atlantic Ocean. Multiple theories have been emerging on what actually happened to the horrifyingly claustrophobic ship millionaires risk their lives to climb on board. So in case you're curious, aren't we all, about what the most up-to-date theories about the missing Titanic submarine are? Here are the top 3 hypotheses, fact-checked by John Carlton, Professor of Marine Engineering at City University, London. So, at least we have the theories fact-checked by a professional. First one says, the submarine is floating on the surface of the water. That's the one we heard that one. One theory that came up early on in the search for the missing Titanic submarine is that the vessel is floating on the surface of the ocean after some kind of electrical failure or other tech problem. But the Coast Guard have been searching and are yet to spot the submarine, so this could be unlikely. And even if the vessel has returned to the ocean's surface, the passengers won't be able to get out as the doors are locked from the outside, so they'd still be running out of oxygen. Pure horror film energy. Professor Carlton's verdict. This is a possibility, but surveillance is extremely good from military aircraft and satellites in the North Atlantic. However, the vessel is small. It's about 6.7 meters in length, and it might possibly be overlooked, particularly if there is any kind of sea running. Probably unlikely, though, because military surveillance is of a very high order, so scratch that one out, because if that would have already happened, we would not be in the current situation that we're in, and we would not be having this conversation. The vessel has imploded under water pressure. Dang. They don't have the... I'm going to look for a video after this one, and it shows what it looks like when a vessel, like a submarine in this case, they use something else as an example as well, when it implodes. That is crazy. Alright, so another running theory from multiple experts about the Titanic submarine is that it imploded under the deep water pressure, which could explain totally losing radio communication. If the ship imploded, the impact would be horrific, and there'd be likely no large pieces of debris for the Coast Guard to find. Professor Carlton's verdict. Faint knocking noises, presumably made by survivors, have been reported by one of the search authorities. In submarine crashes, this has also been reported in similar circumstances, when there is still life on board. If the ship had imploded, there would be no survivors. Someone posted on TikTok, he works for I think it's the Marines or the Navy, I don't remember. And he was describing how he was on a submarine when there was an incident that happened with an Iranian submarine that they lost power and it started going down, basically. They could, because of the sonar that the U.S. submarine had, they could still pick up on sounds, and he was describing how he could everyone in the submarine could hear how the sonar was picking up really loud banging noises, but unfortunately they were prohibited from helping the Iranian submarine. I don't know why, he didn't explain why, but nonetheless, it did happen. It was really consistent at the beginning, and it was really loud, but then as time went on and on, the amount of banging decreased, and the interval of time between one bang and the other started increasing, unfortunately to the point where it was no longer heard. So yeah, that was really hard to hear. It's crazy. He gave the description pretty well, and he made a follow-up video to it. Hopefully it's on the search when we go back to TikTok, so we'll be able to find we'll be able to find that video. Another theory says they're stuck inside the Titanic shipwreck, which is what they mentioned in the video. The missing submarine, which was designed to take millionaires down to look at the Titanic shipwreck, could also now be stuck inside the 11-year-old boat's ruins. 11-year-old. I think they meant to write 111-year-old boat's ruins. It's about 12,500 feet at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, about 370 miles off the coast of Newfoundland in Canada. I mean, they did write feet, F-E-A-T, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's 111-year-old. So it's a typo there on their website. Tisk tisk. If that's the case, the submarine could be really hard to find because the Coast Guard has said there's a lot of debris down there. Additionally, they might have to damage the Titanic shipwreck in order to get them out. Professor Carlton's verdict. This is a possibility, but the submersible was piloted by an experienced navigator, although conditions are difficult at 3.8 kilometers below the surface. So this begs the question of what else could have gone wrong. Anything at this stage has to be speculation, but possibilities could also include local or electrical failure, seal failures, fatigue. This vessel has dived before. Original poster, OP, says, I think 20 to 25 times, and it says damage when launching from the mothership. So again, these are all just theories. We don't have any concrete answers as to what actually happened to that submersible.
I'd like to be remembered as an innovator. I think it was General MacArthur said, you're remembered for the rules you break. And, I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me. The carbon fiber and titanium, there's a rule you don't do that. Well, I did. I'd like to be remembered as an innovator.
Damn.
Hey guys, so I have some good breaking news right now. It is said that they are hearing noises every 30 minutes, like a banging sound. If you don't remember, they sent sonar buoys down below to see if there's any sound they could detect. And they said they are hearing banging sounds and they believe they are alive. And that the submersible did not implode. They believe they are stuck on the wreckage. But this is crazy news and amazing news because we now know they're alive. And what they believe they have about 24 hours of oxygen left, and they are doing everything they can to provide the equipment needed to bring them back up or get them unstuck. Again, they heard banging sounds every 30 minutes against the hull of the submersible. Take a listen to the breaking news and I'll keep you guys updated.
In the search for a missing sub carrying 5 people off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. Repeated banging has been picked up on sonar equipment near the wreck of the Titanic, suggesting potential signs of life.
5 men on board a missing sub with just 24 hours of oxygen left. But as the urgent deadline approaches, a moment of hope.
Raise my hopes through the roof.
A leaked email today from the Department of Homeland Security indicating a Canadian aircraft near the Titanic wreck detected banging sounds in the area every 30 minutes. 4 hours later, additional sonar was deployed and banging was...
Area where the bangs.
Sorry about that.
Then you need to get assets there.
The Coast Guard has confirmed this. Then another update, more sounds. This time, not banging, but potentially more positive news. Additional acoustic feedback was heard and will assist in vectoring surface assets and also indicating continued hope of survivors.
If they are alive and they're in there, they're going to be at almost freezing temperatures, assuming they lost all their power.
Earlier in the day, search teams scoured a 20,000 square kilometre area by air, twice the size of Melbourne. A Canadian P-3 aircraft dropping the sonar buoys onto the ocean surface. The equipment can listen up to 4 kilometres below the surface, the depth of the Titanic wreck. Locating the sub is one thing, but a deep-sea rescue is a current logistical impossibility. The US Navy is scrambling a deep ocean salvage system to the area. A French research vessel with an autonomous diving robot is en route, and Canada has sent its state-of-the-art offshore vessel, but it will take 48 hours to reach the region. Today, a 2018 lawsuit resurfaced with a former OceanGate employee claiming he was fired after raising safety concerns over how deep the vessel could descend. OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush confirmed to be on board, along with Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman, a French historian, and British billionaire explorer Hamish Harding, whose friends cling to hope.
The really good news is that we haven't had bad news. We haven't, seen wreckage floating. We haven't heard that explosion underwater in the sonar.
Right now, every second is precious. In the United States,
I don't know, man. It seems like a lot of tax-paying efforts to look for some people that willingly went in there. I don't know, man. It seems a little excessive. Okay, let's see what True Crime Carrie has to say. What is happening?
Let's start with British billionaire Hamish Harding, who had been posting on social media about the trip leading up to it.
There's new details about
Former
passengers
French Navy
on board
Commander
missing
Paul-Henri
Titanic tourist
who's led several
submersible.
previous expeditions to the Titanic site. OceanGate CEO and founder Stockton Rush, who has insisted in previously published reports that these expeditions are safe, and Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his 19-year-old son Suleiman. The search for the OceanGate expedition submersible is about 900 miles off the coast of Cape Cod in water that's about 13,000 feet deep. The vessel had about 96 hours of oxygen when it deployed on Sunday for the company's third annual trek to explore the wreckage of the Titanic. It lost communication about an hour and 45 minutes into the dive Sunday morning. It should have taken about 2.5 hours to get down to the wreckage. The Coast Guard in Boston is heading up this rescue mission. The search is taking place by water and air, and they've also alerted commercial vessels in the area to keep an eye out as well.
Here's a
crazy.
And here's a blue whale.
Okay, this is a pretty good explanation as to what the depth of how, just how deep the Titanic really is. Just, in terms of seeing it in obvious animation here, but they're gonna explain it more graphically. It's extremely interesting. I saw this video yesterday, but I'm glad that they are repeating it again. Boom.
Largest animal on Earth. Blue whales usually hunt at depths of around 330 feet within the well-lit zone of the ocean. Deeper down, at 700 feet, the USS Triton became the first submarine to circumnavigate the Earth in 1960. At 831 feet, we reached the deepest free dive in recorded history. Down here, the pressure is 26 times greater than at the surface, which would crush most human lungs. But whales manage it, diving to a max depth of 1,640 feet where they hunt giant squid. At 2,400 feet, we reach the danger zone for modern nuclear attack submarines. Any deeper, and the submarine's hull would implode. 2,722 feet down is where the tip of the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, would reach. A little farther, at 3,280 feet, we're deep enough that sunlight can't reach us. We've now entered the midnight zone. Many animals down here can't see, like these eyeless shrimp at 7,500 feet who thrive near scalding hot underwater volcanoes. At this depth, temperatures are just a few degrees above freezing, but the waters around hydrothermal vents can heat up to 800 degrees Fahrenheit. 9,816 feet is the deepest any mammal has been recorded swimming, the Cuvier beaked whale. But not even the Cuvier beaked whale could explore the RMS Titanic, which rests at a staggering depth of 12,500 feet. The pressure is now 378 times greater than at the surface. Yet you can still find sea life like the fangtooth, hagfish, and Dumbo octopus, the deepest living octopus on Earth. At 20,000 feet is the Hadal Zone, an area designated for the ocean's deepest trenches, like the...
If you watched the King Angel show before, you know that we've talked about both the Mariana Trench and the Hadal Zone. You can look for that. Actually, there's parts of the episode on the video section on YouTube for the King Angel show. You're gonna have to go back a little bit because this was, what is it, like last year, probably like May or June, something like that. Still pretty interesting. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Comment on it. But it's all about underwater life and bioluminescent creatures and whatnot. But we talk about the Hadal Zone because it's really interesting and it's really important to mention because, again, this is the deepest that we as humans have been able to have any sort of evidence of. Because past this zone, he's going to explain it now, but past the Hadal Zone, it gets weird really quickly.
An area designated for the ocean's deepest trenches, like the Mariana Trench. If you tipped Mount Everest into the Mariana Trench, its summit would reach down to 29,029 feet. That still doesn't compare to the two deepest crewed missions in history. In 2012, director James Cameron descended to 35,756 feet for the Deep Sea Challenger mission. But Cameron didn't quite break the record, which was set by oceanographer Jacques Piccard and Lieutenant Don Walsh in 1960. Piccard and Walsh descended to the lowest point on Earth, Challenger Deep, at a record 35,797 feet below the surface. Here's a human, and here's a blue whale, the largest.
Bro. That is insane. What is it called? The Challenger Deep. Let's see. The sound keeps coming in and out. I'll put a link on Patreon for you Patreon members so that you can watch the video as well. It's hard to describe. They're on top of a boat right now, top of a huge ship. This is a Challenger Deep video. It was published February 13, 2015 by the awesome Schmidt Ocean. So this is a 10,900 in the Mariana Trench, the deepest spot in the world's oceans. If those are like little fishes, or that's like shrimp. I don't understand. This most definitely does not look like the 60s. They didn't put anything. That's a National Geographic video. Probably, they have like copyrighted music on their stuff. And I know because I've had streams taken down for showing like stuff from them. Okay, let's see. This is what is the Challenger Deep? It's the deepest known place. I'm reading off of surfertoday.com. I don't say who it was written by. So it's the deepest known place on Earth with a depth of between 35,755 and 35,853 feet, which is 10,898 to 10,928 meters. It is located at the southern end of the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean near the Mariana Islands. The Challenger Deep occupies a vast underwater area. Its bottom is about 7 miles long. It's 11 kilometers and 1 mile wide, which is 1.6 kilometers. The water temperatures at the lowest known point on the planet range from 34 to 39 degrees Fahrenheit, which is between 1 and 4 degrees Celsius. The precise coordinates are 11.373333, 142.591667. Where's that video? The Challenger Deep was named after the HMS Challenger, the vessel of the British Royal Navy that led the Challenger expedition between 1872 and 1876, the world's first global marine research journey. Okay, let's see. Okay, on January 23rd, 1960, Trieste, an Italian research bathyscaphe, became the first manned watercraft to reach the bottom of the Challenger Deep. The deep diving submersible was piloted by Swiss oceanographer Jacques Piccard and U.S. Navy Lieutenant Don Walsh. Guam, in those days, was a backwater and just right for us. We were trying to do the project sort of out of sight because we weren't too sure if it was going to work, Walsh once said. The Navy just didn't want to be embarrassed by a failed science spectacular. While the duo was making the descent, one of the submarine's outer windows cracked. Shit. We heard a big bang, but we didn't know what it was. We looked around, checked everything. If the inner window had cracked, we would have been instantly dead, added Don Walsh. Because it would have imploded, especially with the pressure, with the amount of pressure that is down there. Like, yeah, hopefully we'll see that video, but it's like you wouldn't even have time to react. Like, your nervous system wouldn't have time to react to what's going on, because it'll literally be like, that's it. And you're like, it's crazy. Walsh and Piccard decided to proceed with the dive. They spent 5 hours descending and reached a depth of 35,797 feet, which is 10,911 meters. They found flat fish at the bottom, took a self-portrait, and initiated a return to the surface. The underwater explorers only spent 20 minutes at the bottom of the world. Here's a picture of them. And then James Cameron did it when he did the dive down. Not quite as the descent wasn't as much as the other two, but nonetheless, still pretty good. Let's see what they say here. This is from BBC News. Scary stuff.
Surface, LF, depth 109.28 meters.
Okay.
Men.
Okay, roger that. We'll go for a release.
It's not even that big. It's wow, that's crazy.
Depth 109.28 meters. At bottom. Repeat. At bottom.
At the bottom?
Yep.
Roger, LF. Understand you are on the bottom. Congratulations, Victor. Congratulations.
Well done. Beginning exploration of the bottom.
Ready? Well done. You did it, buddy.
Wow,
You
no
did
plastic
it.
bag,
We all
dude.
did
That
it.
sucks.
We all did it. Captain Walsh. Thank you. Thanks for showing the way. Thank you. Oh, you're mine. It was an amazing experience. It was an amazing dive. I think almost exactly 12 hours. About 3.5 down, 4 hours on the bottom. I think the longest anyone's ever been on the bottom of the Challenger Deep. And then about 4 hours up. I went through pretty much all of my electrical power and had to be swapping batteries around and circuits around. It was a great journey. Saw some really interesting things on the bottom.
Dude, who knows what that dude saw down there? That's crazy. So I guess it's manned was 2019 35,853 feet, which is the person that we just saw right now, Victor Vesovo, and unmanned in 2018 by the craft is called the Haidao 1, and it's 35,325 feet. Crazy. All the way down there. Alright, nonetheless, we'll move on. But now we know.
The CEO and founder of OceanGate. Let's take a look at Titan.
Okay. So this video, obviously you already know what he's going to talk about. He's going to go on and explain all the parts and components of the Titan. Mind you, this was months ago. And yeah, we find ourselves, well, they find themselves in that situation right now.
So we're coming into the sub. This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in, turn up the music, and it's...
Sorry, the for urine, it's like those little plastic things that they have at hospitals that has like the lid on it. That's what he was referring to, because you know it wasn't supposed to be, I guess, an extended period of time, so I guess they didn't need anything other than that. But I saw in another TikTok video that someone mentioned that they weren't allowed to eat before getting on the craft. So I don't know. Lots of theories. Lots of people talking about different things and whatnot.
It's very popular. We have our control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens. So if you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right, go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and it's super durable. We keep a couple spares on board just in case. This is the second year we've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions. We did about 10 dives to the wreck site of the Titanic, and we did an extra dive on an undiscovered reef that we found. Completely privately funded operation, and we're funded by we call mission specialists who help support the mission. So they take quite a bit of money to come and join us. Years ago, the Russians took tourists out to the Titanic, and it was just sort of a look and see thing. We really are focusing on the science around it. We want to document what the wreck is like now, and also try to predict what it'll be like in the future. It's continuing to decay, and it seems to be accelerating. It's being eaten by a bacteria, so it's literally being eaten by the ocean. It's not rusting away. So these things that are called rusticles are actually the byproduct of a bacteria that eats the iron. And as it does that, these decks are collapsing. The promenade deck continues to collapse forward. We saw some of the railing is starting to lose its structural strength, which is really a sad thing. That's when it's going to stop looking like the Titanic. The interest in the Titanic is the reason we go there, because people are willing to fund this kind of exploration and science, and that gives a completely different research component that almost nowhere else in the deep ocean can you get funding to go back every year for decades and see how coral reefs develop and see how metals decay and see how currents change. I mean, that just, you can't justify that. No government will pay for that. Nobody wants to go back to just some old reef.
I don't understand,
but people
though,
do want to go back to the Titanic, and that's why we go, is because people want to go.
But he did it as a tourist. kind of thing. It was an adventure. It wasn't anything that had to do with science. So what is he even talking about? He charged them $250,000 per person. My man made like $1 million only off of that one trip. So I don't understand. There were no, like, none of the people that paid, like, the majority were billionaires. They're not scientists. It wasn't being done for research. So I don't know if
I'm the CEO.
I don't know who the hell you're fooling, but
Breaking news tonight on the massive search operation to find that submersible with 5 people on board that went missing Sunday on a trip to view the wreckage of the Titanic. There is a new development in the past hour. Crews searching for the sub reportedly heard today banging sound.
they had that music to give it like a more horror touch to it, like a thriller kind of thing. Add some scare to it. You know, they could have done it without. It would have still had the same impact because I want to listen to the actual information. I don't care about the background music. And it sucks so much because TikTok does not have the option to take that off. Like, if you can add it when posting the video, the person watching the video should have the ability to be able to take that off so that you don't hear copyright music. I'm going to check the settings. I think I maybe saw something like that. But, yeah, if it's not there, they definitely need to work on this because it doesn't make any sense.
Sounds at 30-minute intervals. Then, after additional sonar devices were deployed, banging was still heard. Okay, this is according to an internal U.S. government memo. It was unclear exactly what time this banging was heard. A subsequent update sent tonight suggested more sounds were heard, though they were not described as banging. I want to bring in deep sea explorer and oceanographer David Gallo. David, thank you very much for being here. What does this development tell you?
Well, immediately the first thing is it gets your hopes go skyrocketing up, but also it makes you think that, wow, you know, time is really now against us.
It's crazy.
Even if they find our sub with the ping, with the sonar, there's absolutely nothing they can do about it. There's no way to bring it back to the surface. There's no way to let them escape. That the hatch, by the way...
Again, to everyone that's watching the video, right on top of my head right here, content creator. Each video that has passed, you can subscribe to their channel, check out their content if you like what you see, and yeah, you can watch the video there as well. Just bam, right on top. I don't like using anything or putting anything here that is not credited to someone. So you can see right in here on top, credits on top. In this video, it's a you know Nat. Each video that passes, bam, content creator right on top.
By the way, is sealed with 17 bolts from the outside. So there's no way to escape when you're inside to get out without a crew on the outside letting you out.
Do you know people that are trapped on this thing?
Yes, unconfirmed reports that there are 3 people on there out of the 5. That one of them used to be one of my sub-pilots, and it's just a sad day for our industry.
I'm so sorry to hear that. The oxygen situation, is there any way to remedy that?
No, we carry O2 bottles with us in the submersible, and you also have CO2 scrubbers, and you know, the O2 will last longer than your CO2 scrubbers, and if those CO2 scrubbers go, and depending on what actually happened at depth, just not feeling good about it.
What could possibly have happened?
Worst situation is, you know, something happened to the hull, and our fear is that, you know, it imploded at around 3,200 meters.
And is there anything that the U.S. Navy can do right now?
No. I mean, I don't see anything that can happen at this point. I mean, I'm trying to be, you know, somewhat cautious, and you know, don't want to basically be the naysayer of what's going on. But when you're talking 6,000 pounds per square inch, it is a dangerous environment. More people have been to outer space than to this depth of the ocean.
See, that's what I mentioned before. Yeah, and again, we have more understanding of space than what we do of actual ocean life like that. Like we're because of obvious technological advancements, we have been able to discover a lot more than what we knew, back in the 80s, for example, or the 90s. But there's still so much of ocean life that we don't know about that is being consistently discovered, that to the where we stand right now, again, we know more about the universe that surrounds us and space and the planets and those mathematical formulas that have allowed us to create spacecrafts that take us to space and whatnot. And there have been a lot of successful space travels. So again, we have a better understanding of what surrounds our planet than what we do of the actual ocean of the planet that we inhabit. Pretty fucking crazy. Pretty crazy.
And when you're diving in these situations, you have to cross your T's, dot your I's. You have to do everything absolutely perfect and by the book. And throwing a bunch of tourists in a new sub that was just created over the last several years, it's not looking good, Jesse.
Couldn't help noticing how many pieces of this sub seemed improvised.
This part's a little bit done. We already saw this part.
Can't find them. So if you want to look optimistically at it, they are snagged on some. The backups of missing ballast.
Sorry.
There's only a few possibilities. So this thing has 7 different ways to return to the surface, different ways of releasing ballast or inflating air balloons or using the propellers. So there's backups of backups of backups. So if it is not at the surface, then only one of 2 things could have happened. Either it's snagged on something, like a big fishing net or even part of the Titanic, or there was a leak, in which case it would implode instantly and it's over. So
let's see. Okay, so I think this one does have like copyright music.
So this is essentially what happens when a
nice.
submarine implodes underwater. It's very instantaneous as far as death when it comes to any lives that may be on board. So
yeah, I saw this video. Let's see.
So this is essentially...
Everyone's saying worst case scenario, that submarine imploded. That is probably best case scenario. Obviously, best case scenario would be finding them floating somewhere on top and they're fine. That's not going to happen. Best case...
Sorry, give me 1 second. I need to go pee. Sorry about that. For Patreon members that'll hearing the audio version of this, I'll cut everything until this point now. Okay. We'll continue.
Case scenario is that it imploded and killed them all instantly. That it went from a tube to a rod instantly and they all died immediately. If not, they're on the bottom of the ocean, caught in something with no power, nothing, okay? Nothing. In there with their own, like, urine and feces and whatever, probably hyperventilating, slowly suffocating to death.
That is crazy.
In some of the coldest waters on the planet. I would rather immediately implode and die instantly than fucking that. The worst case scenario is not imploding. It's not. It's probably the best.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Although I'm not sure if that one specifically would be considered copyright since it is like chill hop, but you know how it is. Okay, so this is a submarine implosion. So this is what a submarine looks like when it implodes. It takes a fraction of a second and is horrifying. Ah, it's just the image.
There are, in fact, two distinct crushing depths. The depth at which engineers say it is unsafe to dive, and the depth at which a submarine actually crushes. World War II submarines were given a maximum depth rating, although it was impossible to tell how deep they could actually go. Some of them went much below their maximum safe crush depth and made it back up, maybe damaged, while others never made it to the surface at all. So what happens at the true crush depth? The outer hull, the fuel and air tanks, and subsequently the inner hull all fail at the true crush depth. Submarines' exterior, non-watertight hulls are light and give an effective hydrodynamic form. The inner hull, or pressure hull, is responsible for keeping the pressure differential between the interior and exterior constant. The submarine disintegrates.
And again, this is about a submarine. The submersible was significantly smaller. So, I just want to put that out there.
It's into scrap metal when submerged to crush depth. Pipes and fittings would fail as the submarine got closer to its crush depth, and then the hull would groan and creak before imploding and killing everyone on board in a matter of seconds. Instead of slowly seeping in, the water rushes in, either trapping the air within in a bubble at one end of the boat, or generating so much heat that the boat implodes and kills everyone inside. Body parts and fuel oil are among the debris that rises to the top. Very chilling. What happens to the crew? The crew of a sub will suffer a range of unpleasant outcomes in the event of an implosion. If a pressure hull implodes at a depth of 2,000 feet, when the air pressure is around 60 atmospheres, the internal pressure will rapidly climb from 14.7 to nearly 875 psi. It would feel like being inside the cylinder of a diesel engine just as the compression stroke begins in the areas of the submarine where large volumes of air are trapped. Everything combustible would go up in flames until a massive wall of water crashed down and put an end to the blaze. Anybody unlucky enough to be still alive would be severely hurt by the water's impact and wouldn't have time to suffer the effects of oxygen poisoning or anything else. Human tissues are mostly fluid-filled, making them difficult to compress. An individual's lungs and sinuses would be crushed instantly, and the tremendous shock would knock them out. Even more dangerous would be the sudden onslaught of water from the ocean, the vessel's bulkheads and decks, as well as the weight and speed with which various pieces of machinery and engines would hurl towards the crew. To put it bluntly, the crew would perish multiple times in the blink of an eye. Dive in.
Yeah. James Cameron was explaining that it's the video that I saw. He explained that there are no human remains from the Titanic because the amount of pressure in the water completely disintegrated all human remains. So they did find a lot of shoes. So that's one of the things that he does talk about, how when he did the expedition, they found multiple boots, shoes, like the kids' shoes, scattered all across the Titanic. But again, no human remains and no bones or anything like that. Because, like I just said, the amount of pressure just completely evaporated, if you wanted to say that, the remains. Pretty crazy. And they kind of show there in this video the implosion, like how it actually looks.
Dive in.
Sorry. I didn't mean to repeat the same video. Alright, so this is a pretty good example. It has copyright missing. But it's examples of rapid implosion of a cylinder. So, I mean, I'm going to repeat the video again. Just look at this. I mean, that looks like CGI. It's real life. That's how it works. That's how it. Look at that. Water would move at speed of sound during implosion at Titanic depth. So keep that in mind. Wow. You wouldn't have, I mean, if that's what happened, you would have absolutely no time to be able to react. See? That's some scary shit. Bro, what? It sounds silent, but there's a video running again. Patreon members, don't worry about it, I got you. I'll include the, like I mentioned before, a link to the YouTube video. That is crazy. No, that is insane. My God, people making fun of. I don't want to put the ones that are making fun of. My God, this person commented, "Wait, do you know what imploding means? Titanic will be totally fine."
This is a submarine imploding. Okay, no hate to this person because 10 million people have said this, but to me, if this is a submarine imploding, like, the metal is not disintegrating. I mean, there's still debris, so if it was anywhere near the Titanic when that happened, like, the debris would still be there. Even if they were just, like, on top of it and it imploded, that's still sinking down, still would hurt it. And then I just think of, like, the water, like, there's gotta be water gushing everywhere. I mean, she's a fragile girl down there. Those beams are not holding on for, they're not
with the amount of pressure
anymore. So I do not think the Titanic would be fine if it imploded. But who am I? Okay.
You want to see people, the perfect example of people commenting out of their ass? Watch a TikTok video. Especially when it comes to things like this. I feel like some people just like make shit up and they post it. And they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. They have no knowledge about anything, but they just take information out of their asses. It's crazy. Alright, we'll watch one more video and then I'm out. 2 more videos. 1 or 2 more videos. Let's see if we can find something interesting. This was 6 hours ago. Well, we already saw that. I'm trying to see if there's any other anything Anything else that's interesting? You're a ghost on the Titanic minding your business. I don't even want to. Does this one have the music to it?
So one of the billionaires that's missing on the water from that submarine shit, one of the billionaires, their stepson, is at a concert, right? At a Blink-182 concert. And people is like, well, what is he supposed to do? Be sad at the house? Is he supposed to go look for himself? Yes. You're supposed to be at the house sad. You're supposed to be crying for me. You're supposed to be right next to the phone waiting to hear any updates about me. You're supposed to be constantly your mom and shit. Like, isn't it sad that you a whole fucking billionaire and nobody gives a fuck about you? Like you missing and motherfuckers is ready to shake dicks at concert. That's crazy. I'd rather be broke. I'd rather be broke than like and poor, but knowing that I'm loved. Like, so one of
I mean, the dude did go to the Blink-182 concert. Like, check this out.
All right, so by now the entire world knows about the OceanGate submersible. They went down to try to see the Titanic wreckage. They lost contact just an hour and 45 minutes into the expedition. They only had 96 hours of total oxygen. They left on Monday the 18th. We're now heading into the 21st. You do the math. That's not a lot of air left. There's a search and rescue mission going on all over the ocean, the surface, underneath, all the way down at the bottom. They're using submarines. They're using planes. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack, and it doesn't look good. Now, these are the guys aboard the sub. Right here, this is Stockton Rush. He's the CEO of OceanGate. Right now, he's catching some heat because many people in this industry have told him that this sub was not safe, including a letter back in 2018 where over 36 people all unanimously agreed it's not ready to go down to the Titanic. This is a world-renowned French deep-sea diver. This is a Pakistani billionaire who's tragically on there with his 19-year-old son. And this is a British billionaire by the name of Hamish Harding. And I cannot imagine what it's like for the families of these guys involved. This must be an absolute nightmare, right? Well, apparently not for Brian Jacques, who's the stepson of Hamish Harding, who went to...
My man posted it on... He posted it on social media. Bro, you could have kept that shit to yourself and you could have avoided this whole problem. No one needed to know. This was information that no one needed to know. But then at the same time, if you think about it, that only leads one to believe that something happened. There was some type of dynamic happening between that stepdad and stepson, and things happening behind the curtains that we have absolutely no idea. And this dude said, "Fuck it." Oh, he's lost in the middle of the ocean. You know what? He would have wanted me to come to this Blink-182 concert. He would have loved it. He took a picture and then he didn't only take like the picture, but then he's smiling in it. It's like, bruh, the least you could have done is frown or like, you know, kind of act like you're sad and shit. Like, damn, you're going through this tough situation, but he looks pretty happy. So there's something happening that we have absolutely no idea of. Yikes. I mean, at least, and take it, I don't know, maybe a wall behind you, but he took the picture in front of the merch line of Blink-182. It's like rubbing, just to make sure that everyone knows that he is not lying and he is actually at a Blink-182 concert, rubbing salt on the wound. Or maybe not. Dude, maybe his family never liked him. Maybe they've been waiting for this shit this whole time. Would you not think that? I mean, does this look like the actions of someone that is suffering at the moment? I don't think so. Listen, if you disagree, would you like it if someone did the same thing to you? Could you imagine that you've gone missing and your family or a family member just goes to a concert anyway, even after knowing that you're missing, because it's all across the news, and they still go to a concert? That's like a "am I the asshole" kind of thing. Nah.
Went to a Blink 182 concert in the middle of this fiasco and then posted about it on social media.
See?
The caption read, "It might be distasteful being here, but my family would want me to be at the Blink 182 show, bro. Come."
Dude, he even says it, like, it might be distasteful, so he acknowledges that, yeah, this might not look good. Might not look good for me, but he still did it anyway. I don't even know what to say.
Come on, give me a break. This whole thing has only been a couple days old. We've only got like 18 more hours before you might have to plan a funeral. And you go to a Blink show and you post about it on social media? I mean, we're not talking about Taylor Swift tickets. We're not talking about the Eras tour. We're talking about Blink. And I don't want to speculate, but anybody who goes to a concert in the middle of a search and rescue effort is probably just waiting for that inheritance check. All right, so
We even talked about Casey Anthony here before. Dude, she went partying during the whole thing. I mean, she still, obviously, beat the case. But nonetheless, during the whole trial, and she was going, like, partying before she was arrested. So, yeah. In this specific case, we don't know what happened in that household. We have no idea. We can only speculate. Some people might say, I understand. And some people might say he's an asshole. We all have different opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Let's see what the comment section of this specific video says. So, first one says, the stepson is like, I'm rich. Someone else writes, dude has his own life, not sure why hit. Oh, it's cut. They left on Sunday, though. Someone wrote, it is what it is. What? It looks like Blink 182 is selling Pizza Hut. These people are out of their mind. As a guy with a stepdad, fuck yeah. Yeesh.
by now the entire world knows about.
Again, we don't know the dynamics of that family. We don't know what was going on behind closed doors, so we can only speculate. Let's see if there's anything new on CNN. This was 33 minutes ago. Here's what we know about the pilot of the missing Titanic submersible he helped build. Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate and one of 5 people on the submersible missing in the North Atlantic, has cultivated a reputation as a kind of modern-day Jacques Cousteau, a nature lover, adventurer, and visionary. Rush has approached his dream of deep-sea exploration with childlike verve and an antipathy towards regulations. Sorry about that. A pattern that has come into sharp relief since Sunday night when his vessel, the Titan, went missing. Rush, who graduated from Princeton in 1984 with a degree in aerospace engineering, has said that he never really grew out of his childhood dream of wanting to be an astronaut, but his sight wasn't good enough, according to an interview he gave Smithsonian Magazine in 2019. He founded OceanGate in 2009 with a stated mission of increasing access to the deep ocean through innovation. OceanGate currently operates 3 submersibles for conducting research, film production, and exploration travel, quote unquote, which is the obvious problem that we're having right now, because originally it was to conduct research, and I can fully understand the film production part of it, but and you know, they threw in the exploration travel because hey, why not? You gotta make money somehow. Which is why there were 5 people. What is it? 5 or 4 people that paid $250,000 each. All right. So, speaking of the same exploration travel, it says, including tours of the site of the Titanic more than 13,000 feet below the ocean's surface. A seat on that 8-day mission costs $250,000 per person. Rush, who was 61, said he believes deeply that the sea, rather than the sky, offers humanity the best shot at survival when the Earth's surface becomes uninhabitable. The future of mankind is underwater. It's not on Mars. He told Estrada, we will have a base underwater. If we trash this planet, the best lifeboat for mankind is underwater. In his eagerness to explore, Rush has often appeared skeptical, if not dismissive, of regulations that might slow innovation. The commercial subversive industry is obscenely safe, he told Smithsonian, because they have all these regulations. I understand, see, like, I mean, come on now. Come on now. If you are able to obscenely safe because they have all these regulations, my man, they're there for a purpose, which is unfortunately what you're finding out now. As bad as that sounds, what I'm saying is just based off of what I just read. I mean, he said that himself. I didn't say that for him. Obscenely safe. That's like companies that don't follow like OSHA rules and shit, and then they get surprised when they're sued. You can't be surprised if you didn't follow like OSHA regulations. Like, they're there for a purpose. Do people have a problem with regulations and stuff? And it's incredibly important. Have you seen how human beings do things without rules and regulations? Come on now. It's not very successful. So that should have obviously been a red flag. But even after that CNN reporter went and did that whole segment on the Titan and whatnot, and when they were talking about like the controller and stuff, and he's talking, and this guy Rush mentions the light on top that was purchased at Camping World and whatnot. Dude, that should have been like the 10th, 12th red flag that maybe this isn't something that is fit for human beings like that. For adventures and whatnot. Why not secure the unmanned version of it first? Gather as much data. I mean, this could have added more data to help other scientists and other, fields of science that study the ocean. Yet, he wanted to make it like an adventure kind of thing, an adventure travel, and we're not there yet, at least not with the ocean. Even within OceanGate, warnings from employees about safety appear to have been ignored or disregarded, which is what we already know, that David Lockridge, OceanGate's former director of marine operations. I'll repeat that sentence one more time. OceanGate's former director of marine operations. He somehow made it to a very high top position. So come on now, you could have at least paid attention to what he was saying, but that's not what happened. This is what happened. David said in a court filing that he was wrongfully terminated in 2018 for raising concerns about the safety and testing of the Titan. The case was settled out of court and the terms weren't disclosed. Another former employee who spoke on the condition of anonymity, echoed Lockridge's concerns. That employee said that as contractors and employees raised red flags, Rush became defensive and dodged questions in staff meetings. OceanGate hasn't responded to CNN's request to comment. In recent days, as search teams, it's NASA meets MacGyver. Wow. In recent days, as search teams have scoured the ocean for signs of the Titan and its crew, some aspects of the vessel's design and onboard technology, such as the video game controller that the pilot uses to steer it, have raised eyebrows. When CBS correspondent David Pogue took a trip on the Titan last year, he reported that communications broke down and the sub was lost at sea for more than 2 hours. He also asked Rush about the vessel's MacGyvery components, like the plastic PlayStation controller and LED lights that Rush bought from an RV retailer. Rush pushed back against Pogue's description in that interview, arguing that some elements could be less sophisticated as long as the key parts, like the pressure vessel, is sound. Rush said the pressure vessel had been built in coordination with Boeing, NASA, and the University of Washington. Once you're certain that the pressure vessel is not going to collapse on everybody, he said, everything else can fail. It doesn't matter. This is what we heard him say before. Your thrusters can go. Your lights can go. All these things can fail. You're still going to be safe. And so, that allows you to do whatever that allows you to do what you call MacGyver stuff, he said. Well, Pogue, in an interview with USA Today on Wednesday, recalled his impressions of the Titan. Some of the ballasts are old, rusty construction pipes. There were certain things that looked like cut corners. And last but not least, this is the deep sick. Extreme tourism is a lucrative, high-risk industry, and it's only growing. With enough money, tourists can summit Everest, take a rocket to space, run multi-day ultra-marathons catered by Michelin-rated chefs. We're looking at you, Kristen Cinema. Or plumb the ocean depths that have largely been off-limits for humankind. So you not only were they happy with poaching animals and all around the world, especially like in Africa and whatnot. Now they're just like spreading that shit. Now Mars is like one of the things, and now like ocean life, and what was the other one? Summit Mount Everest. Like they want to climb. Like, have you not seen any of the documentaries about Mount Everest? There's so many dead bodies up there. People die. Like, that's it. And not even people just like, wow, just fall down and die. I saw a video on TikTok of this lady, and she was with her husband. I don't know. They were like climbing Mount Everest, and she starts screaming all of a sudden, and it's like two dead bodies that just like roll down, and there's like a whole bunch of them up there. People still keep going because they want that adventure. I ask myself, is life not an adventure in and of itself? Why the fuck am I gonna add myself to that list of, quote unquote adventure? Why would I want to do something like that? You know how hard life is. But again, it's normally only a certain group of people that do all these weird type of shit and adventure-ish and putting themselves out like, me personally as a Dominican man, keep me here. I'll keep my toes here. Taxes and all this shit that you have to go through in a daily life, that's enough adventure for me. I'm okay. Hiking and beaches and traveling, I like that type of adventure. I'll keep it at that. Anything other than that, once you start talking about anything that could potentially risk my life and stuff like that, I'm okay with that. I like living. It's so nice. Breathing is so great. Damn, that sounds horrible. But you get my point. I said it and then I heard it. I heard it coming out of my mouth. Hey, they signed waivers. I don't know what to tell you. If it would have been something that they were forced into the situation, then yeah, maybe I would have felt a lot worse about saying something like that. But they willingly did that, so willingly did it, and the waiver in and of itself says pretty clear that death could happen if it gets to that point, and they still signed it and paid the money and went. So I don't know what to tell you. Alright, what I've seen with the ultra rich, money is no object when it comes to experiences, said Nick D'Annunzio, the owner of public relations firm Tara Inc. They want something that they'll never forget. In that respect, Rush shares something in common with his clients. In his interview with Smithsonian in 2019, he relayed his almost spiritual attraction to the deep sea. He called it the deep disease. I went to 75 feet. I saw cool stuff. I went 100 feet and saw more cool stuff. And I was like, well, what's it going to be like at the end of this thing? Damn. It's fucking foreshadowing words there. Yikes. Like I mentioned before, if you haven't watched, if you didn't know anything about the submersible that went missing, well, now you know. We're pretty caught up to everything that has happened up until this point. They still haven't found anything. Wait, look at him. Join the Discord. We'll we'll continue the conversation there. If anything happens, I'll post updates there as well. So, hopefully everything goes well. But honestly, based off of all the information and data that we have up until this point, and we've heard experts talking about it, and everything we've read, one can only hope. Crossing fingers, they are still human beings and whatnot, but on the flip side, you did know, you kind of knew what you were getting yourself into, so I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. As bad as that sounds, it's the reality. This was wonderful. I appreciate anyone that stopped by. If you were watching me, you can watch the repeat of this episode on YouTube. Like it, comment, let me know what you think. Like I said, thank you very much for being here. This was pretty awesome. I'll post this episode plus the audio version with the Be Right Back portion clipped out for Patreon, so you guys can enjoy the audio version of it. I'm gonna go cook some food now. Cross fingers for me. Send me some good vibes. Send me some luck if you have some. If you have some to spare. You know where to find me. I'm all across social media: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. If you want to further support me, you can use your Amazon Prime here on Twitch. That'll help me out immensely. You can also join my Patreon community. That's I have a 7-day free trial going on right now, but it's $2 a month if you like what you see. That'll help me out immensely as well. You get a whole bunch of benefits, private Discord channels, full unedited episodes. I'm sorry, I said it as one word there. You get pictures, exclusive review and reaction videos that are only for Patreon members. Yeah, a little bit of everything, and I'm adding benefits as we go. Last but not least, join the Discord. That's King Angel's Entertainment Lounge. That's free. It's public. We'll continue the conversation there. If anything happens, like I said before, I'll keep Discord up to date with any information in regards to the submersible. But it's not looking good. Not looking good. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's about it. What an amazing episode. I had such a great time today watching all these videos and whatnot. I'll let you know on Discord if I will be live tomorrow. Hopefully I will. Crossing fingers, but things just have been popping up, and all depends on my attitude and my mood. I am a huge believer that even through a camera, people can kind of tell the attitude that you have, and kind of like not necessarily know specifically what's happening, but you can give those vibes of I don't want to involve anyone in my own shit. So sometimes when I don't feel like streaming or being live, I just don't. I'd rather not give that energy out than have people watch me and perceive something that's really not in it. It's just people. I'm a human being. People go through shit. That's how it is. But nonetheless, I'm always happy to be here. I'm always happy to be in front of a camera. I really wish I can. Hoping really, crossing fingers I can do this for the rest of the time. As a hobby, as a side hustle, but still have something going on employment-wise, but then have my spare time for like live streaming and whatnot. I love being in front of a camera. I love being, love the engagement. I love conversation. I love arguments. I love reading, watching videos, learning about things, keeping up to date with news and whatnot. So, yeah. I'm very lucky and very grateful to be able to do this. Nonetheless, you guys have a very wonderful day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for being here. This is the King Angel Show. I'm King Angel, a San Francisco Bay Area live streamer and content creator here on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. This was Coffee, the News, and Us. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Peace.